Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that allows you to start when you want, pause, and rewind. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing?
Man, we got some bitchin' technology on this end of things. Let me tell you what, I'm doing well, and you know what? I am the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you very much, and thanks for that warm, rousing introduction, as always. How the hell are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, although, Kidder, I got a question for you right off the bat.
Okay.
Is your ego so large that, you couldn't get a shirt big enough that had the man, the myth, and the legend on it? Did you have to just limit it to the one?
I'm too cheap to get one t-shirt, so I settled for WWE's The Man. So now I need two more t-shirts, The Myth and The Legend, and then I'll have the trifecta of t-shirts ready to go. And then I suppose on top of that, could really get crazy, and we could make the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Kidder, the t-shirt, and put it on the beerbluesbs.com, the web store, the podcast.
Once that ever gets created. Kidder, what you really should have done, is you should get a Becky Lynch The Man hat, get a shirt that says The Myth, and then a pair of pants that say The Legend. That's a whole outfit.
Well, we already know what's going on down there is legendary. So let's just back this up a minute, okay? Calm down.
I didn't need that info, Kidder. Didn't need that info.
You just know. It's like urban legend at this point, okay? It is the legend. So that's part of what makes me me. Man, this took a turn already. We've only been going for 2 minutes, and this took a turn. How about that?
It did. Quite the turn, too.
Well, it's a good turn.
It must have been a week.
Yes, it definitely has been. And I know that it's been a week because by Wednesday? Was it Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. My days have blurred together this week, but I think it has been because by Wednesday, you're texting me going, hey, are you still at work? And this evening it was I forget 8:30 at night or something. And for once, no, I wasn't. And you're like, hey, oh dang, you're not. Was hoping to have a beer, and I'm like, well, yeah. Last night would have been good because I didn't leave until almost 9:30, so there's that. But then I came home and did some yard work until 11:30. Nothing like doing yard work in the half dark. Nothing like it. But, it's a good time. But I know now I'm sore and ready for a beer or something of the sort with alcohol in it. And as we were discussing right before we started this thing, I kept mine in the fridge because normally we BS too much at the beginning, and so my drink starts getting warm because my beer fridge is in my office at work. It doesn't have beer in it, just for clarification. So I don't have my beer fridge down here. But you, on the other hand, have a beer fridge in more reasonable accessibility, you could say.
It's just up in my garage, so just up a flight of stairs from my current location. Yeah. Not gonna lie, Kidder. As soon as you told me that, like, well, I don't have my drink here, I'm like, I'm starting this show almost right away. We're doing this.
I knew that you would,
because that's the kind of jerk I'm feeling like being tonight.
Well, I wouldn't say that you're being a jerk, but you're drinking in front of me, so that means you're drinking alone.
I am. What
How's
kind
that
of
make you
sad
feel?
friend are you that makes me drink alone? You know,
I'm an encourager because I'm still here rooting for you. You drink that beer, Howie. You drink it. Drink that beer so fast that you have to get a second and a third. Drink it.
I don't know that I'm going to get that crazy tonight because I took inventory of my beer fridge, Kidder. I'm down to, after tonight, I'm down to one sacrificial beer left. And then I got like, I think 3 of the experimental beers left. So,
oh boy.
You know what that means?
Means that you would normally
BWRUN beer run.
Oh, yes. Yes. I thought that you were going to say that I've been to your house recently, but we know that's not true. So obviously I haven't been there to drink the beer. But yes, we need to have a BWRUN beer run. And what else goes with a BWRUN beer run?
I don't know where you're going at this. All I know that we need is a 10 and a 5 and a car and key and a sober driver.
That would be a good thing for a BWRUN beer run. Haven't even drank yet. Haven't even had anything to drink. Beer run.
Have you actually ever heard that song, Beer Run?
See,
it is a song, actually.
I have because of you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that our wonderful audience is like, are these guys just messed up and really drunk? Or what are they talking about?
Yeah, it's a comedic song, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. Get on that, Future Howard, to it for anyone who hasn't heard it. I forget the comedian that does it. So again, check the show notes. Future Howard, get to work again.
Yeah, do some work, damn it.
It's a song. It's a song that I like the chorus and nothing else. Like the rest of the song is just kind of like meh. But the best part of it is that chorus. BWRUN beer run. BWRUN beer run. All we need is a 10 and a 5 and a car and a key and a sober driver. BWRUN beer run. It's just fun to say, and it's fun to try and do as fast as you can. I enjoy that part. The rest of the song I could care less about. I like that part. So,
and for the record, I don't think we have the rights to play that, nor the money to pay for the copyright for it. So if you are the creator of that song and you're watching or listening to this, please don't sue us because we have no money.
Exactly. I mean, let's face it, Kidder, our sound effect board is still this little kid's toy right here. Yes. Oh, that's cheating, Kidder. That's cheating. That is cheating. For the audience who can't see him because he's not going to speak and be on camera, Kidder texted his wife and had her bring him a beer. You know, Kidder, in this modern society, I hate to see you doing such, what's the term I'm looking for? Chauvinistic tactics as forcing your wife to fetch you a beer.
To be fair, she texted me first and asked me if I wanted one. And I have the text proof, damn it. So there. I got my beer. Take that, you son of a bitch.
Well, Kidder, of course, what's up? I was gonna say, what's on tap tonight?
What's on tap?
You know,
what's on tap? The line. I thought the line was buy us a beer or free beer tomorrow.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that, if I don't ask you what's on tap, people
Then
are
how
going to be
would we know?
upset. It's one of those lines. You have to say it. You have to say what's on tap.
You have to say it. True. So obviously got my Sue Shop hockey sock koozie here to keep this beverage nice and cool, and not to interrupt you there, Howie Blues. We got to work on this internet lag thing. Hopefully, maybe if people donate enough money, we'll get that thing figured out. So tonight, I am taking a little bit of a left turn and a right turn and going out there, and you're gonna enjoy this. Of course, notice the pink cap on this. I am going with a nice Smirnoff. I'm giving this a go. The pink lemonade premium malt beverage with natural flavors, and they're not just any colors, Howie. They are certified colors. They're certified. I don't know who certified them, but they're certified. Brewed and bottled by the Smirnoff Company in Plainfield, Illinois, a whole 4.5% alcohol percentage per volume. And these cheap bastards can't even give me a full 12 ounces of this pink goodness. It is only 11.2 full ounces. So the Smirnoff pink lemonade, the blah, 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 do not store in direct sunlight. That's really about all we got. So cheers to you, my brother. Let's give this fruity, smell of sugar, fruity beverage a shot here. Wow. Okay. You know what? It is way better than the TV static of weeks past. So I'm extremely happy about that. You know what? I could take drinking 4 of these, 5 of these, 6 of these, sitting on a beach or a lake, beach of a lake maybe, or the river. Nice hot sunny day. It tastes almost exactly like the pink lemonade that I normally whip up with the non-alcoholic version. So this is dangerous, folks. So you know what? I'm going to deduct 1 star because of the bitch beer stigma that comes with this, but for the flavor and how easily it goes down, a solid 4 out of 5 stars.
It's a pretty solid rating. Pretty solid.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah.
What do you have on tap? What's going on over there? I saw you drinking an Alaskan.
I am drinking an Alaskan. And you know what, Kidder? I decided tonight needed a bit of a theme night because by this point, there's been a lot of hate on the show for IPAs. Like IPAs have been getting a lot of poking, a lot of digs, a lot of, just bad press from us. So I figure, got to represent a little bit. Because we should. So I actually started off my sacrificial tonight was the Alaskan Low IPA. A very nice IPA. Not as bitter as some IPAs are, but very enjoyable. So I just finished that. But
so you're saying that IPA is the least IPA that an IPA could be?
I would say it's the IPA for people who don't collect plaid shirts. How's that?
All right. So it's an IPA for us. Awesome. And I agree with your sentiment about our hate of IPAs, especially if you watch last week's episode. Because that was a horrible beer. I am sorry. And I almost grabbed that out of the fridge because I have one more, and I was like, I'll just put it back for another day.
So, Kidder, that was my sacrificial. My actual drink of choice tonight comes from the Dogfish Head Brewery, and it is the 60-minute IPA.
Wow. 2 IPAs
Yes.
in one night. Are you okay?
Yes. Yes, I am. And I will tell you, Kidder, you can tell so because it says right here on the label, off-centered ales for off-centered people.
You're going to have to center that up a little because you were off center there. You have to center it a little bit.
This can writes all the jokes here. The description on it says, our East Coast IPA continually hopped with a slew of Northwest hops throughout the entire boil for a powerful citrusy hop character. So,
My question for you that isn't on the actual can, but did they take slew water as well?
no idea. No idea. But I will say, Kidder, and this is probably going to be really hard to see. We'll try and get it on here. But
Oh, boy.
look right there above the
All right, Paul.
barcode.
It's a product. I'm guessing the can is courtesy of the Ball Corporation. That is the ice home of your Colorado Avalanche Ball Arena.
Correct. And Kidder, they didn't skip out. I do have my full 12 ounces and 6% alcohol. So here we go. A nice IPA. And Kidder, it's a 60-minute IPA. So in the words of the great Kirk Fogg, start the clock.
Well, this is at 16 after the hour local time. So he's got 59 minutes and 40 seconds to finish that beer. Will we be done with this episode by then? Will he be done with the beer? These are questions I need answers for. Should be good.
So I'm gonna say, Kidder, not too bad. It is again not a real bitter IPA. So I've definitely had some that are much more like in your face with it. I can taste that slight citrusy taste. It's pretty good actually. I'm enjoying this. So
Wow.
I think I'm gonna have an enjoyable 60 minutes as I finish this IPA. So
58 minutes. Just trying to help you, you know.
just try to help. Yeah.
Want you to enjoy that whole beer in the
Oh, I will. I wonder why they did name it.
57 and a half minutes.
I do. What did you start an actual timer? Because I'd be impressed, Kidder. You know, like if you had caught the name and thought of that joke, I'm like, I'm going to actually set a timer.
I can neither confirm nor deny these or any other allegations at this time.
I see. Do I need to get you a lawyer? I don't know a lawyer. Okay, I do know some lawyers, but not well enough that any of them would ever represent me and for the price that I would have available. So, yeah.
Okay.
You know, Kidder, I've already told you this, but I'm going to tell you again, for the sake of our podcast audience, that a certain gentleman from Indiana reached out to us, or at least to me.
Right. I haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
Quite disappointed.
Clearly, he likes me better.
Well, you know.
Anyway, we had a nice chat. He says he misses us. Clearly has not gotten to the to episode 8 where the harassment starts. So, yeah. And
That's
once
just
again,
where it became evident.
No, that's when I literally started
All right.
with this campaign. So he's not there yet. But I once again extended an offer for him to join the show. And he was really wishy-washy about it.
Really? That's pretty disappointing, you know, because who wouldn't want to be on this show? I mean, everyone aside from a certain member of Indiana's residency at some point in their life.
I know. He's letting the whole state down.
Yeah.
You know, here he is, the person we have who could represent the great state of Indiana. And he can't commit to being on a simple show. Disappointed.
And it's not like it takes up too much of his time. I mean, maybe 2.5 hours. I mean,
hey, he's the one who said he misses his good friends.
the good brothers.
So he should be here with us.
He should be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like you don't have 54 minutes and 49 seconds to drink your IPA.
This is going to be close, isn't it?
It might be. We'll just have to see. That'll be good. I mean, but, you know, if you want to be on the show, we don't really go through a huge, extensive vetting process before we let you into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, the characters like us on this show. So, just saying, you know, there's a possibility to be on the show.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, in fact, we have discussed this and we're still figuring out the logistical thing of it. But with my previous connections in the music world, looking for, I shouldn't say looking for, there are plenty of people to talk to, but we have interest of some other musicians in a band that I have hung out with before who have been here and are playing North Dakota, Fargo, and Minot in August. So there's a little teaser for you because we're working that, and we could bring some credibility to this show.
There you go. Trying to ruin our credibility-free rating. We're going to corrupt the kids.
The credibility. We're going to corrupt the kids. You can't have the credibility. Come on here.
I will say I'm almost done with this. This is very easy to drink.
Mm.
I mean,
You
it also
might have to
be
get
that
another one.
You're right. I mean, I was going to say that it might be just because they forgot to put that other 0.8 ounces in the glass bottle, but you know.
Yeah. I really shouldn't have said you'll have to get another one. I really should have said your wife might have to bring you another one. Because we know that's how you roll.
Settle down now. I know where you live. And I only drank this in like 12 minutes, unlike the 52 minutes and 9 seconds you have left.
I'm getting there. It's in a can, though. You can't see the progression.
Yeah. So you'd be like, oh, yeah, it's empty. Flip it over.
I even got a bonus can here so I can make the empty can noise. See, I thought ahead.
That one didn't even really sound empty. Are you sure you're finishing these beers? I think there needs. Yes, I demand an investigation. A Senate inquiry.
Listen, I'm too frugal. I can't waste beer. I have to finish it.
Yeah.
Whether I want to or not.
Yeah. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I will say last week's was the first time in a very long time that I did not, or I should say, could not finish a beer. That was bad. Yeah. But now that we are here, normally what?
I was going to say normally for something like that, you know, everybody's favorite referee should show up and give you a 2-minute penalty. But you came forward, you admitted it.
Jeopardy. Because I think I've already been tried for that crime.
not by the ref, but
Oh,
you took accountability for it, so he's going to let you off with a warning.
oh, okay. Waving off the icing. Is that what's going on here? Good.
Pretty
Good.
much.
Okay. I'm glad that we can continue this show without having to take a pause for, I don't know, information's sake.
Although Kidder, following the Curtis Axel Royal Rumble rules, this means that it has taken you 168 hours and counting to drink that beer.
Oh. I guess. But I clearly finished it. He just wasn't done with that. I was done with that. I chose to get in the ring and throw myself out because I was done with that. Yeah.
I see.
In fact, I'll go one step further, and I will say, in that instance of deciding, do I want to finish drinking this absolute pile of toilet water, or do I want to concede? And I pulled a Santino Marella at that point. 2.4 seconds of deliberation between the two. Out of here. Done.
I don't think he ever eliminated himself.
He didn't. He was eliminated, but he holds the record for the quickest elimination in the Royal Rumble. I think it's 2.4 seconds. Or maybe it's 0.9. Yeah. I don't remember.
See, but that reference just says that you weren't ready to finish that IPA.
Oh.
What you're claiming is more like the Drew Carey appearance in the Royal Rumble, where he did eliminate himself because Kane.
Oh, all right. Sure.
So,
whatever. Drew Carey's funny and makes a lot of money. Sure. Yeah, whatever. So since we're talking about wrestling, natural transition into, I don't know, somewhat of our bread and butter of discussing wrestling. I see one of the things to talk about is this weekend's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And I call it a Hell in a Cell very loosely, especially with the announcement. I don't know if it was earlier today or if it was yesterday that the Hell in a Cell match between Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns taking place on SmackDown. Now, I can't confirm if there's doing a second Hell in a Cell on the pay-per-view with the damn match name in the frickin' title, or if they're just doing it ahead of time. But if they're doing it ahead of time on Friday just to get extra viewership, that is absolutely stupid.
Well, okay. Let's talk this, because you have heard this rant from me before. But for the audience, here's a new one for you. So, Hell in the Cell, for those who are uninitiated, is a giant, 20-foot tall chain link fence cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That for some reason is now painted red.
And with the larger chain link, so then you can get your hands and feet in each of the rungs.
Yeah. When this match was first created and came out, this thing was like the ultimate decider, right? This match was the match you had because the feud was at that level. Like it stepped it up, and it was always exciting and dangerous. More than likely somebody was going to get hurt. And it was saved for those big feud moments. And then they decided to make it its own pay-per-view. And now every year it comes around, and they shoehorn some feud into the cell, and it has lost its appeal in that sense because it's no longer that rare thing. It's not that, oh my gosh, we've gotten to that level. It's now just, well, who's going in the cage this year? And that honestly, yeah, kind of ruins it for me. It's one of the there's a set of these matches that they have done where they have built pay-per-views around them, and I just hate it. This one's one. TLC's another one, the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs match pay-per-view. I only really like when they do this when it's things like the Royal Rumble. I can get behind that. That's the kind of match that warrants its own pay-per-view and event. Money in the Bank, I'm fine with. Tends to be a terrible show, but I'm fine with it because it's like this is setting up storylines and things like that. I can get behind that. But yeah, I'm disappointed with what's happened to Hell in a Cell, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. I'm not looking forward to the fact that they moved it up and such. And especially like they did this in October last year, and they did 3 Hell in a Cell matches, including one that was wasn't there one that was like an I Quit match in Hell in a Cell, which made no sense. Wasn't that the Jey Uso Roman Reigns match? I know that was just in October. Yeah. But it's one of those like, why is this in the cell? Doesn't need to be. Anyway, I saw as I was getting the prediction sheet ready that there were 3 Hell in a Cell matches on here, and I'm just bleh. So
I'm guessing the Hell in a Cell matches are Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
And then Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair.
Nope.
Oh, wow. Okay. Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler.
Nope.
Wow. Then Bianca Belair and Bayley.
Yep, that's one of them.
Okay. Would not expect that. And then the other one I would, I guess, be interested in a little bit, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Nope.
Of course not. And all that leaves Seth Rollins and Cesaro or Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, which I would say that would be it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Lashley and McIntyre is in the cage. So, Kidder, as is kind of tradition, let's lock these predictions in. I'll pull up the sheet here. And,
okay.
We can run down this and
get it over with.
Yeah.
Because we all know that you
exactly.
you only have 41 minutes and 46 seconds left. Well, now he's just cheating. He's not drinking at his normal speed.
Howard is having to talk Hell in a Cell when Howard just doesn't really feel like talking Hell in a Cell, so he's trying to make the pain go away.
Fair enough. So we're doing shots then. Not for this show.
Maybe.
Maybe
if this is gone.
Okay.
We'll see. I still have ice full up in the freezer. So.
Oh, okay. Tonight's show is going to get interesting, everybody.
Good. All right.
So Hell in a Cell, I guess. If you want to call it a pay-per-view, even though it doesn't fit into the normal pay-per-view timeline. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. If I remember correctly, this is where if McIntyre loses, he doesn't challenge ever again for the title from Lashley. Something like that.
Kidder, I haven't followed any of these storylines. That's
Okay.
how much I care. So you could make up any story like that, and I'll just go, "Oh wow, look, really?"
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I thought I remembered seeing something like that when I was fast forwarding through one of the episodes, but maybe I just misconstrued it. So I guess we'll find out Sunday. I really want McIntyre to win because Bobby Lashley is boring to me as a champion. He's just not doing anything. You know, McIntyre was out talking and defending and wrestling and making it interesting, and Lashley is a heel champion. But just like Roman Reigns, I think the whole thing, championship run, is boring. So as much as I think that it isn't going to happen, I will pick McIntyre.
All right. Kidder, I'm going to pick Lashley.
All right.
I have no reason except for misery and sharing the misery together.
Commiserating. All right. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Recently, Charlotte Flair has been quite the heel and attacking people, including Rhea Ripley, touting her greatness and how she's a 16-time women's champion. I think it's 16 now. I don't know. She also thinks that she's Cruella DeVille with her apparel at the moment. I haven't really seen Rhea do a whole lot with her championship, and so I don't know if the WWE officials have become stagnant on her run, but Charlotte Flair having the title again, I don't think is necessary. So I will go with Rhea.
Me too, I'm going to go with Ripley. And if you're looking for some great analysis, it's I don't have one.
Because she's Australian.
Sure. Truthfully, Flair is champion I've seen. Don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Ripley at least could be something different and interesting.
Side note, since you mentioned interesting and want to see, Samoa Joe has returned to NXT.
Mm-hmm. I did see that headline. Yes.
Very interesting. Somewhat of an enforcer or something, and he can't or he's not going to have matches and can't attack people unless he is attacked or provoked. So, somewhat interesting. Also, I saw an article earlier today that was discussing how WWE is attempting to get some of the other recently released talent back, such as Aleister Black. Apparently, they're trying to re-engage him due to the high level of interest from AEW. So that there might be hope there for that. I also saw that it didn't mention the names of these individuals, but apparently some of the recently released talent have requested being released from the 90-day non-compete clause in their contracts, and varying from a couple days to completely, and not sure what's going to happen with that. So just a couple interesting things. And of course, we haven't talked about it. I don't think we had a chance to talk about it last week, but
no, we did.
Okay, we did. See, it's good. Thanks, future Howard, current Howard, and past Howard for making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where were we? Oh, right. The Hell in a Cell match that doesn't make any hell of a sense. Bianca Belair and Bayley. They have had somewhat of a rivalry, so I can see how they would be like, oh, this needs to be in Hell in a Cell. It doesn't, but I could see it, I guess. Again, Bianca Belair, I don't think she's done a ton with her championship. Bailey has been out there and trying to push it a little bit more so than what Belair has, although she's had enough television exposure recently with Bailey and some of the other championship related activities on SmackDown. I think Belair will retain.
I do think Belair will retain because they were so high on her with what they did with Mania and such. I don't know how else they would do that.
And yeah. Sasha Banks hasn't been around lately. So that's also something interesting.
Well, and Sasha wouldn't go in to Hell in a Cell. She's kind of made it clear that she's done her last one. It would take something special for her to go back. She has no desire to wrestle in Hell in a Cell again. She said that on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast.
I could see that, considering she's given herself like 5 concussions over the past 5 years. And I think 3 of them resulting in her having to relinquish the title. So
yeah,
I get that. One other interesting fact that I just came up with, kind of like the WWE creative. Yeah, this sounds good. Let's just do it. Doesn't make any sense. Let's do it. They brought Eva Marie back. If you remember Eva Marie, girl, attractive, but bright red hair or purple hair, whatever color hair, kind of what Sasha Banks turned into almost a little bit. Well, Eva Marie, terrible wrestler back then, absolutely horrible. Everybody booed her when she came out. So she left the company for a while, did a fitness thing, had an energy drink that she came up with her husband, and kept modeling and whatever. And then all of a sudden, oh, look, she's coming back to WWE. And they did vignettes for over a month of her coming back. This is so exciting. Great. Not exciting. Not exciting at all. So her first match was this past week on Monday Night Raw. Music hits and Corey Graves. I've been waiting for this moment forever. This is the greatest moment of my life. His normal whatever. So she comes around the corner, and right next to her is this unnamed larger wrestler and walks down to the ring with her. And it was... Who is she wrestling now? I want to say it was Natalia. No, it wasn't Natalia. It was Naomi. Naomi was in the ring. She came down to the ring first, and she was waiting. The unnamed woman with Eva Marie gets into the ring. Ding, ding, ding. Wrestles 1-2 whatever squash match. Done. And, of course, the announcer, and the winner is... They don't have a name for this lady. Eva Marie comes over, grabs the mic. The winner is Eva Marie. Ah. Stupid. Dumb. Sorry. Just dumb. Not a fan. So it's going to be another year of torture watching her potentially injure herself or others like before. Unless she really did learn something at the Performance Center like she claims, and then I guess we'll see. And then we can discuss this in 6 months. So, there's that. Next on the list, Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler. Alexa Bliss and her little doll have been targeting Shayna Baszler and pulling a cane and shooting fireballs up the side of the ramp at Shayna Baszler and calling her out and doing all of this fiendish activity. And it's kind of dumb. Lily, that's the name of the doll, Lily. So this match, I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be a cinematic match. Personally, I wish that Alexa Bliss would get rid of the knockoff Fiend current, I don't know what you want to call it, because it's not even really a gimmick. It's just a ripoff, especially because she's not, associated with the Fiend at the moment. And I'm sick of hearing the Firefly Funhouse music as well. So there's that. If I had to pick, I'm going to guess cinematic match. I'm also going to guess in this that there's going to be some kind of shenanigans with it in some form, but Alexa Bliss will potentially come out on top.
I think my thoughts on this match can be summed up pretty easily. Done.
Wow, and you only had 29 minutes and 12 seconds to go. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And this wonderful pay-per-view for encouraging me to drink heavily. Bliss is going to win. Period. Move on.
To decide to go to meetings. Is that what you're thinking? Let's see. Aside from that, KO and Sami Zayn. I think that this match could steal the show, as I enjoy watching Kevin Owens. And, of course, we've discussed their matches before and how they are very good. So I'll pick KO.
Truthfully, Kidder, when I was entering matches into the spreadsheet here, I was looking at most of these and going, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see this. Until I got to this match, I'm like, they're doing this match again? All right. This is the one match on the card I want to see.
Gives you reason to actually watch the show.
I know. It's for this one match and this one match only, and I'm taking Owens because I like Kevin Owens.
Absolutely. Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio, and a Hell in a Cell. Sorry, had to clear my throat there. Went all McMahon all of a sudden. This one I've discussed, I think, before and have alluded to my disdain of Roman Reigns as a champion, including his new theme music with the whatever WWE creative is, whoever's in charge of coming up with the themes lately and their obsession with choral arrangements added into it. Not a fan. Cut that crap out, please. I think he's a boring champion. I don't get, or I shouldn't say I don't get it. I get what they're doing to king of the or the head of the table, but I don't think it's interesting. In fact, I think it kills the momentum of the show. So there's that. I would love to see Rey Mysterio win the Universal title again, because frankly, he deserves it for sticking around so long and wrestling full time, even though he's been injured I don't know how many times over the past decade, and in and out with the company as well. And it's really cool with him wrestling with Dominic now. Super cool. Unfortunately, as much as I would like to see Rey Mysterio win the match, I believe Reigns will retain. I think they're waiting for SummerSlam or something to perhaps jumpstart another, I don't know, feud, storyline, something like that. Kind of get them on the new path to WrestleMania.
I'm not probably as hard on the Roman Reigns heel run. I think that there's some good storytelling that has gone on with it, with his feuding with originally Jay Uso, like that family tension. I thought that stuff was pretty good, at least storytelling wise. I feel like his stuff with Edge and Daniel Bryan was pretty good. I can understand like the momentum thing is probably the biggest thing that's the most like soap opera-y on the show currently, and a lot of the drama and the tension and all of that. I would I say it's my favorite thing? No, but I do think that he is playing this character well, and this idea of him seeking respect and acknowledge me, and I will give it's to me it's more of a gimmick than and storytelling element than say Bobby Lashley and his era of domination or domination era or era of
Whatever.
see how forgettable that is? I can't even remember it. Whereas like the Roman Reigns head of the table stuff,
It is more
I'm
memorable.
kind of okay.
I'll give you that.
It is, and I will say like he had that fantastic feud with Kevin Owens kind of at the beginning of this run, and that was really good. I think that this is a character, or at least a gimmick that works when you have the right feud partner, and you really build the feud and play the feud. It doesn't work well in these one shots, I would have liked to have seen him continue to feud with Cesaro. I would have liked to have seen,
Yes.
like this switch over to Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell. To me, and again, I haven't been watching, I haven't been following, but I think it's Jimmy that just came back, right? The other Uso.
Yes.
And he's been, there's been this tension between them. Why is it not Roman and Jimmy in Hell in a Cell? And because that promo writes itself. Like, I broke Jay at Hell in a Cell. I will break you at Hell in a Cell.
Time for you to fall in line. Mhm.
Right. There's storytelling that explains why it's in a cage that, that just, it fits better, and maybe they just don't want to pull that trigger quite yet. But to me, that's the match that fits the storytelling. And I, as I said, I haven't been watching, haven't been following, don't know why we have Roman versus Rey. But that just seems odd to me, as the guy who's now like not really following wrestling, not really watching the product, who just really only does the pay-per-views because hey, it's our thing. You and I have been doing for years. Like, I'm coming into this, I'm like, what? Why is this the match?
And I half watch, and I'm still asking why.
Yeah. So to me, this is a misfire of a match choice. I mean, I'm literally scratching my head over this. I think Roman's going to retain, though. It would be SummerSlam before they're going to make him lose the title. And even then, I don't know. They just don't have anybody who's really in that position to take it off him, unless it's the return of some big name star. And truthfully, right now, they don't need to just bring back a nostalgia act. They really should put this on somebody that people want to see. Mm-hmm. That's my take. Or on an up-and-comer and let somebody else have their moment in the sun, which I think is a great transition into the last match of the card.
Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Would totally like to see it switched around where Cesaro is with Roman Reigns and Cesaro wins, just like I said the last pay-per-view when it was Reigns and Cesaro. But Seth Rollins and Cesaro, I don't know. Seth Rollins is doing a whole like corporate hippie thing right now. He's got like tie-dye suits and weird. I really don't know what his gimmick is because he's still got the burn it down, but at the same time, it's not really burn it down. It's like, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense. So in this one, I will. Because they've been feuding a little bit here back and forth. So like, the feud kind of makes sense. I will pick Cesaro to win this one.
I got Cesaro as well. I haven't seen much of this Seth Rollins gimmick. I did hear one commentator who said of his current run that you have a guy who's at his peak right now, and he's been saddled with the worst gimmick you could saddle somebody who's at their peak right now.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins is capable of some decent matches and such.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has taken a while for the audience to get behind him because he was always labeled as the architect of the Shield, but he never really came off as the front man of that group. That was always Dean Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of looked at him and you said, well, he's the charismatic one. He's the leader of the group. And then you kind of find out, oh, wait, it's Seth? Seth is the leader of the group?
Yeah.
Okay, weird.
I don't know about that. Whatever.
And so I think people had a hard time with this whole, well, he's the architect, the builder of this. Like, they never really got into that. And then, he had a pretty decent run. And then, they flipped him into this controlling messiah. Now almost, it sounds like a corporate hippie cult leader. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyway, I got Cesaro.
Interesting thing as well. So I sent a text to the funny guy, and I was like, hey, Sunday's Hell in a Cell. You're welcome to join us. I didn't say, hey, come join us. I said, we'll be watching it. You're welcome to come down and join. He replied with, no. Now, for somebody who got me into wrestling and fired up your interest for wrestling with me, and we all wrestled and did stuff for him to go. You were into
just
it.
A ref.
I know,
just a ref.
But you were there.
I was
still by proxy, and for someone like that with such a wrestling pedigree to go, no. Like, no. Yeah, we're at that point where you have, better things to do than come down and watch that. I get it.
Well, it is Father's Day,
right?
So I can understand that. And truthfully, for as much as you and I bag on WWE, I truthfully think that I think he burned out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much he watches these days of it and
None.
Such.
He doesn't. He lost interest. It's just there's too much of it. He thinks.
And for the audience, because I know we're kind of talking about him without really kind of saying who he is and that. But this gentleman was a huge wrestling fan. I think is the reason there was a backyard wrestling scene for a bit, but wrote movies centered around wrestling, wrote a book centered around wrestling.
Mm-hmm. The Psychotic Pro Wrestler.
Yeah.
Both the movie and the book.
So this is a guy who really loved this stuff and such. And he's not interested. I don't know if it's just burnout or, I don't want to get into his story too much because it's not my story to share, but I know he went through some life events and things, and I'm kind of wondering if, he's taken his life in a different direction, and, that's okay. Can't fault him for that. I still want him to come on the show and tell the Lilac Bush story.
Yes. So when we get him on the show, then he can delve into the details as to why he lost interest in wrestling and all of that.
Mm-hmm. You do realize, though, that when we have him on the show, I'm going to have to title that one Nothing But Inside Jokes.
Inside Jokes, Senioritis, the Prodigy Senior returns.
Well, I say Inside Jokes is because you and him have like 1,000,001 inside jokes and references and things, to the point of, like, even when my wife has been around the two of you, like, you guys will go off on something. She goes, I don't get it. I'm like, neither do I. And I've been hanging out with these guys longer. You know, like, I don't even know.
What do you
all.
mean?
So it's just a thing. It's definitely something that needs to happen at least once for the audience, because it is a thing. Like, I kid you not. It's almost like it's almost like you and him have your own language. And you guys just kind of like it just starts up, and it's just hey, and I will tell the audience, it's not just a verbal language, and it's down to gestures and facial expressions. It's the most complex language I have ever seen. As these two guys will just rattle off stuff back and forth, and it's you kind of can't help but just sit and watch this and go, I understand none of this, but it is somewhat fascinating.
Well, you see how the ref, that's where it comes in, see, son? Because you didn't pay your dues to the liability. You got to get the insurance. You'll have the liability coverage, because liability doesn't cover the rest of that. That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. It's a little bit of a teaser for the funniness with the funny guy coming up hopefully sometime later right here on the Triple B.
Yeah, we're going to have to twist his arm, I think, pretty hard to get him to do this. But we should start
I'm sure
now.
if we tell him that he gets a chance to be Tuscon 2's senior and do a KRDN sports update or something of the like, he'll be all over it.
Yeah. You know, Kidder, I was thinking, and I didn't put it on the sheet, but I should have. But I was thinking this today as I was walking to my car, because I was trying to think of, like, hey, what are we going to talk about?
And what were you thinking?
I was thinking, because you brought it up, KRDN. We have mentioned KRDN several times, but I was thinking, you know what, we should almost dive into the history. What is KRDN? Where did this thing come from? Why do these guys act like they own a news station, but I've never heard of it? I can't find it on the TV. What is KRDN? Eyewitness.
Well, since you asked, I suppose we could tell a little bit of that story. So it can be on your TV if you pull it up through perhaps an Xbox or your Fire Stick or some other internet-capable device with a YouTube app or a Twitch app. Then you can watch the KRDN Eyewitness Weather Now stream live at your fingertips. But let's go way back in the year 2000 or so. And we, as in Swami and I, were in a group. And I also believe that our other friend Devin was in the group, and it was a history class. And at the time, I worked for a local news station, you know, all 16 years old, working for a local news station, very involved with news, and said, you know what, for our project that is discussing Rome and Julius Caesar, what if we did a newscast? But it's like we have the technology of now, but reporting in Rome. That makes perfect sense. So we're all about it. So, well, hell, let's just do it. So Swami's mom worked at one of the elementary schools in town, and part of the library happened to be a slight semicircle that looked like a news set backdrop. It even had the recessed lighting to light the set, or that wall. I'm like, that's it. Let's do it. And then we were able to move a desk over, everything. So we set it up, record this segment on Julius Caesar getting assassinated. But it's like it came out of nowhere, because our reporter on the scene, well, first it starts out with Swami and me. Welcome to KRDN Eyewitness News 8, and big things happening in Rome today. Let's go live on the scene and find out what Julius Caesar is talking about and what he's addressing us with today. Go out to Devin live on the scene. Yes, Julius Caesar here. He's about to whatever. And we filmed that on the steps of the state library in North Dakota. So wonderful use of historical resources as well.
Kidder, just I hate to interrupt, but I have to mention that Devin didn't appear as himself, because I have seen this clip. He appeared as the famous KRDN legend Ray Porter. I just had to share that name.
Correct. Even though it cut out on my end, I hope that it did not cut out for the recording. So
if not, then we'll just have to say it again.
Just say it again.
And now Kidder's wondering if this is plague or if I'm messing with him.
Probably.
Yes, he appeared as Ray Porter. Yes.
That's right. So, obviously, the joke was that he's a reporter, and his name is Ray Porter. So, we're continuing, and he's out there. Yes, Lyman, here is Julius Caesar. And Julius Caesar also happens to look astonishingly similar to Swami. Just to throw that out. So, Ray Porter runs up. Julius Caesar, do you have some words for us? And Caesar begins talking of, yes, it's a great day in Rome. And all of a sudden, one of our other friends runs up and stabs him. And then Caesar falls down and just completely over dramatic. And then you have Ray Porter. Oh my God! They just got to her! Ah! In a higher pitched voice than that. And Ray Porter then goes running off because he doesn't know what else to do, leaving the camera, and cut back to us in the studio, which, of course, there's me and Swami, and we're like, not, of course, recognizing that Swami has a stunning resemblance to Julius Caesar for whatever reason. So, Swami, I can't take it anymore! Papers, like 30 papers. Whoosh! It was glorious. He gets up and goes running away. So then I am like, well, we need to end this episode. And so I scoot over to the middle of the news desk. And I am now the lead anchor. And we'll have more coverage on Julius Caesar and the fallout of what happened today on KRDN Eyewitness News 8. Thanks for joining us. Something like that, right? And done. And it's done. That's where that started. We did a follow-up episode of that, going back in time with Ray Porter and Swami, with some other various topics, and I can't remember what that one was about. That one took place in Swami's garage, so that was nice. And then you and I did an episode for our gym class, and I wouldn't doubt that damn video is still playing, unless he's retired, the gym teacher. Unless he's retired, but I don't know if he's retired yet. But
yeah, because that was one. It was for gym, and it was for the drug unit, and everybody had to do a presentation about a drug, and we were methamphetamines, if I recall.
Yep. Yeah.
And you pitched, hey, let's do KRDN. Like, what's KRDN? Well, it's this news station we do. Okay. And so I got involved with getting to write the script for it. So I have added such great things to KRDN as the humorous and often true news stories
Yes.
to the
Often.
broadcast. Yeah. So there was that. I took over Devin's position. I was the in the field reporter. I did not appear as Ray Porter. I appeared as myself in that
Mhm.
for all of the 2 episodes I participate in KRDN.
Mhm. So far.
But this one was for well, this one was for as I said, a gym class, and we didn't have Swami because he wasn't in the class. So I forget who the third member of our group who
Lindsay.
yeah. I say as if I actually remembered her name.
She was
sorry.
She was the co-anchor. And
I knew that part.
Yep.
For the audience, High School Howard was a bit of a jerk. He doesn't remember a lot of people from high school, and he's constantly having current Howard to have to apologize for his actions. So just throwing that out there. But yes,
We'll
we
forgive him.
this episode had the fake the funny true news stories at the beginning, and then it cut to me as the in the field reporter. Reporting on the scene of a large explosion. We believe that it was a meth lab. We have some footage of it, and we filmed it in my backyard. My backyard had retaining walls. There was this shot of me as the reporter, like looking at some notes, and then turning to like look at a noise, and then running and jumping off the retaining wall. And we cut to footage from the movie Independence Day after the aliens had hit the Empire State
when they
Building.
blow up New York, yeah.
And the cars are flying and people are screaming, and it comes back to me and it's like, Chris still apparently alive. To which Swami did appear in this episode because he was the
yes.
What's that song? Yeah, he was the meth addict.
No, okay. it was Devin.
Oh, it was Devin. That's right.
Yep.
Again, High School Howard, terrible names. But that's when then Devin comes and ran and jumped in and it's like, sir, do you know anything? Do you know anything about the explosion? No, not at all. So that was the bit.
Hey, what's that over there? Huh? And then he goes running, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We had that old chestnut of a joke. So yeah, we did that. Got a very good grade on the project. That's also where I think the first time where we had, and Kidder, you're going to know the actual technical terms, but the graphic that appears over the anchor's shoulder. Like usually you would have like the picture and then like the little title of like what they're seeing.
The little over the shoulder picture graphic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, we didn't quite have the tech down for that. Kidder hadn't quite mastered Photoshop at that point, so we had those on a stick, and so it was on a yardstick, and so it would just come into the shot and then out.
As a KRDN classic, believe it or not, we did have the technology because I could have come up with something to make it work because I edited that one at the studio. With the studio equipment. So I could have made something for that, but I just it's total old school KRDN of put the over the shoulder, slide it in, there it is. Just sits there shaking because whoever is holding it just sitting there bouncing around the shot. It was quality. What was oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so we did that one. And I had a lot of fun just making the video and doing that. It's kind of one of the first early chances I had it kind of create a production like that. And so I wrote a whole script for a second KRDN one that we did just for kicks. It was basically about a giant snowball war and used footage because North Dakota at that time at the Capitol in Bismarck had competed for the Guinness World Record of most people doing snow angels. and they had a photo from the top of the Capitol, and it's all these people laying on the mall doing snow angels, but it looks like a bunch of dead bodies. So we used that as our kind of clip, and that one kind of followed that same thing of that. However, again, we didn't have Swami, so that's what started the very all-around famous quote about him having the night off. Really
then it
took away.
became that he was on permanent vacation.
Mm-hmm. He was a casualty of the snowball war because we had a blazer that we were using for him that we pelted with a snowball, and I forget which one of us yelled it out. Oh no, co-anchor!
Yeah.
Swami, it's been hit.
No. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, and then you guys did one more KRDN. That was my last involvement of it, but you guys kind of took some of the stuff that I had introduced and ran with the news stories and such. So,
yep, Funny Guy and Dinosaur and me, the three of us put together, I think, 2 episodes of KRDN, and one including a lead up to NDWF Snow Brawl 2005. That one is a classic right there as well. You get to see Dinosaur live on location. And aside from that, we had some good around town headlines for that episode. One of the mainstays of a KRDN broadcast, the around town headlines. Been doing that since the beginning. You know, good things like donut truck crashed into the back of a police car, and authorities had to question the driver as to why his eyes were glazed. Things like that. Then I believe we had some footage together in a lost episode that never got put together. Some sports segments and scripts and whatnot. Unfortunately, that one's still in the archive. I think I have all of the pieces. I could potentially put it together, but you know, maybe not. I can hope so. And then some KRDN segments for your movie.
Yeah. So, not that I talk about my filmmaking career at all, but I did do some filmmaking, and yeah, we did. For my first film that I ever did, we did do some KRDN segments, such. So, Kidder. Not that I wish to cut the KRDN stories short.
Yes.
I have one more story to tell you tonight. Kind of the continuing saga of selling my house. However, for me to do that, I'm tapped out right now of beverages. I need something, so I'm going to turn this over to you to stall for a little bit. I'm going to mute myself and stall. And I'm going to go get a drink.
I see.
So,
well, make sure you get me one as well, because I've been on empty for a good half an hour here.
It'll be another half an hour before I can deliver that drink down to your place. So,
perfect.
Kidder, it's up to you to stall and save the show.
Well,
good luck.
See. Yeah, good luck. None of us are counting on me. So he's got his headphones off and he's walking away. Let's give some live play-by-play. Okay, so now he has disappeared around the corner, out of the camera's view. And so we are on our own. Now that he's gone, we can really talk about Howard the Ref. Howard the Ref. I don't know if he was trying to be legit or if he was just trying to be an a-hole. But you know what? That guy, he would say that he calls those matches down the middle, but damn it, he was the worst ref in NDWF history. I tell you, that guy, all he wanted to do is argue and argue. And man, can he count to 3 when it came to the time when it needed to count to 3? Hell no. I have no idea what that guy was thinking. And I don't know where he gets his reffing skills. I mean, Is there a Cracker Jack box with a referee shirt in it now? Can anybody just be a referee these days? Apparently. Howard the ref losing all credibility. I just, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's been probably 12 years since he called a match, and I'm still upset about it. Yeah, he called a Tuscan Tunes Jr. match once. It was horrible. Tuscan Tunes Jr., of course, won. So it appears that he is now back, and he's going to be putting on the headphones shortly, so I must return to normal. Well, there's Jaco. Hello again. Welcome back to the conversation.
I'm now wondering how much I regret that decision.
I mean, I think that you're fine. It was a great decision to grab a beverage.
Uh-huh. Do you realize I edit this, so I'm going to hear what you said.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This goes straight to the internet. The internet shall decide.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce the guest for next week. Howard the ref will make his return. I don't know for what yet, but he'll be back.
Well, we shall see.
So,
what do you got? Oh, you're going hard. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going hard. He's going hard. Hard. Sweep hard. It's got to be a Canadian thing, right?
Yeah, curling. Well, Kidder, I figured I need to give an update to the saga that is the selling of my house.
Yes. As you take a nice large swig of the ice hole.
So last time in the saga where we left off, we had our third offer, a nice couple who were buying our place for the wife's mother, who was in a situation and needed them to provide financial support and buy this place for her. So Monday was the inspection. And as you can recall from the past tellings of this, and the inspection is where we've kind of just seemed to falter, whether it's been greed or garter snakes. So Lefty and I were holding our fingers. Now, one of the things is this couple was a little worried because in our condo association rules, it says you can't rent out the unit. So they asked us to ask the association, because they are not renting this unit to the mom. She's getting to live there. Asked us if we would ask the condo association for a letter saying that they would be okay with that situation. So I wrote to the condo association president, informing them of the situation and asking for a response. So the inspection is going on Monday. I get a call from my realtor. My realtor's like, hey, the inspection went well up until the point where the condo association president came over and talked to the buyers and told the buyers they can't buy the place for the mom. So the deal has been basically, I'll put it this way. This led to kind of a week of us going back and forth with the condo association and with the buyers and trying to make it work, trying to come to a solution, trying to come up with something. Really came down to a condo association not really listening to us when we're saying that this isn't a lease, this isn't a rental, this is them trying to help out mom. And they wouldn't hear it, really didn't listen to us. Had a meeting where they discussed it and didn't invite Lefty or myself to participate.
Certainly nice.
Yeah, and so I don't know what all they discussed. I don't know what their real take was. I will also say Lefty and I were very overall. Lefty and I were just have been disappointed by how we were treated with all of this, because even after the condo association president talked to the buyers, she didn't send us anything until about 6 hours later. Did she send me an email, like at midnight, to say, you can't do this. No real reason, just you can't do this. It's in the bylaws. Well, we're in the bylaws, needless to say, it's been a long, a very frustrating week, which is why at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that I had invited you over for a drink, and that was because at about Wednesday, we realized this deal was going to fall through, and I'm really frustrated with it, really stressed out about it, which the stress affects my lovely bit of nerve damage that I have from the transverse myelitis. So I've had a hot, burning hot, painful leg all week, which has affected my sleep and such, which then also doesn't help it. In the end, the deal has been canceled, and we've put our place back on the market for the 4th time. And now the house that we had made an offer on is back on the market because we didn't get our place sold. So Lefty and I are back to square one and are starting over all over again. So,
well, sorry to hear that, brother, but as they say, things happen for a reason. I mean, before even talking about that, I think that if it doesn't clearly state that the property, rental, whatnot, okay, fine. But they're not renting it for someone. They're not renting it out to someone. So I think that if you really wanted to be nice, you could throw a lawsuit in their lap. And if that other person had actually wanted to really live there, because you can't just make up rules that go against the rules in your bylaws. I mean, if you have a procedure that's laid in place, you have to follow the procedure. That's why it's there.
Right. See, the clause in the bylaws that they kept citing, it's kind of hidden within the amendment on leasing. So there's an amendment in there that says owners of units can only do a short 6-term or 6-month lease. And there's it's the very last line of that clause that says it is the intention of this that unit owners occupy units. And that's what they quoted as, well, that's where it says that unit owners have to live in units. It doesn't to get into the semantics of the sentence, it doesn't truly say that unit owners have to live in. It's that this clause is intending to set that up, but it's not. Right. It's nowhere in there. Needless to say, and again, this is why I wish they would have invited us to the conversation, because I could have then at least asked and got their reasoning and things like that. Anyway, after our deal had passed, they sent me an email last night that was, well, here's what we've got from our lawyer and that. And I fired an email back, and it was from Lefty and I that basically just said, our deal was canceled, and we've lost our house. And here's all the ways that we think you handled this poorly, and that we're upset because we're members of this association. There should be at least a little bit of respect with that. And so we kind of laid that out. And one of my last lines was, I highly suggest that you make the bylaws clearer and less vague. So, I mean, Lefty and I, it's not like we're angry at the individuals on the board. It's not like we're holding a grudge or are upset. We're more, as I put it, we're disappointed in how we were treated in that. And all that we really wanted was just the little bit of respect to come and talk to us and make sure that we felt heard.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is too much to ask.
First month residents trying to leave right away. You've been there for a substantial amount of time. Right. That should have some credibility with it, with the other people. And if they really wanted to get around it, okay, the owner of must occupy the property okay, she can be put on the paperwork. She's an owner of the property.
Well,
You know,
legally she couldn't be on the paperwork.
I mean,
I
like
don't know the whole
right. What they want.
I don't know the whole
yeah.
situation, but from what we have kind of gathered, it involves either like some crippling medical debt or a bad divorce. Needless to say, if her name appears on a deed, then immediately, like, she would have to sell the place. And that's not the point of this. The point is to get her set up and reestablished.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, think of it this way, kidder. Think if, something, if it was just your mom, senior's gone, just your mom, and has some terrible accident or like bad health crisis and gets like her savings and such wiped out, goes through collections. Are you going to let your mom live on the street? No. And if you had the financial wherewithal and resources to say, hey, let me buy you a place and allow you to get reestablished. I'll cover the costs. You get reestablished. I think most of us would do that, right? If you were in that situation, you would try to help your mom out.
Absolutely.
Lefty and I feel so bad for these people, because there's some situation like this. They're trying to help mom get back on her feet after some situation. Does it suck that, yes, we've had our third offer fall through? Sure. Are we disappointed that we're going to lose this house that we've fallen in love with? Sure. But in the end, I think we're most upset that this person in need is, basically been taken for this ride. So that's the continuing saga of us trying to sell our place. So if anybody out there would love a lovely condo, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, lovely neighborhood.
I'm hoping by the time this airs that it's been sold.
I'm hoping so too.
Is that condo that you're talking about still available?
Who knows? With the way my luck has been going with selling this place, it is like my realtor is like almost in tears over it. She's just like, you guys just can't catch a break on this. But and I said to Lefty, I'm like, well, you always have to remember, I am the living embodiment of Charlie Brown. If Charlie Brown was a real person, that'd be me.
Yeah.
Nothing ever works out. I mean, it is so well known, like within my family and such, that when I was going through the medical stuff and I ended up with the spinal headache that only happens to 10% of people who get a lumbar puncture. And I told my mom, she goes, well, of course you got a spinal headache. You always end up in the worst situation you could end up in. It never works out for you. You're not that lucky. So,
and that's how he ended up friends with me. Because the worst thing always happens. There it is. I'll drink to that.
Thanks. I'm out again. So
fill it
up. We'll see. I was gonna say, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while. I think it's time that we wrap this up, put a neat bow on it, and call it a night.
All right. We'll mosey on down the Tuscan Highway for some more high tales and celebratory beverages on another episode. But first, stand by for pandering. If you would enlighten us, please join us on the Facebook page, Beer, Blues, and BS. You can easily search it on Facebook. Join us for that. I also am impressed that Howard is drinking quite a bit of alcohol. I mean, that was like a quarter of a glass that you took a swig of right there. That was like a whole 4 ounces.
Been a week, kidder. It's been a week.
I know. So I'll drink to that too. All right. So we covered Facebook. Please like us on Facebook. Other thing, check us out on Podbean. Podbean. You can check us out on there. Search Beer Blues NBS. In fact, if you go to your favorite web search provider and type Beer Blues and BS, you'll probably find everything and everywhere that we are, including YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Audible. There's a few more of them that you can find out at Podbean. And I think it's beerbluesbs.podbean.com. You can also check us out at beerbluesbs.com because that's a thing, and you'll find us there. I mean, we're all over the place. What's that terrified, oh crap, it's not finished look? Are we not there yet?
Note to self, finish website.
I thought we were there. I don't know. Where are we? Where are we, damn it? We're going back in time.
Well, kidder, I guess I know what I'm doing during Hell in a Cell.
Damn it, Howard. We must go back.
Let's see. So we covered that. Emails. You can email him, Howard at beerbluesbs.com. You can email me, Kidder at beerbluesbs.com. And if you'd like to, you can also email Rude Boy Kyle at beerbluesbs.com, or perhaps the gentleman from Nebraska, Bob Giggles himself. Yes, Nico. He's Bob Giggles at beerbluesbs.com. You know, we got so many email addresses and so many different things and so many places. It should be pretty easy for you to stumble upon us. And I don't want to forget about this visual experience that you are currently witnessing on the YouTube. Search Beer Blues BS on YouTube and find us there as well. So I think we've covered all of them except for the KRDN Eyewitness Weather Now channel, which you can find on YouTube and on twitch.tv/KRDN Eyewitness Weather Now. Man, we got a lot of stuff. And thanks for letting us cover it. Make sure you stick around because coming up in a couple seconds is Behind the Curtain and things that you didn't know until you watch that segment. But you'll have to wait a couple seconds for that. In the meantime, he's Howard Blues. I am the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Beer Blues and BS, the Triple B, with a couple good brothers. We're so happy to have you along for the ride. Catch you down the Tuscan Highway. Free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down that dusty road.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
Well, should we start this thing?
Well,
You need a drink.
I know
and
you
need
don't
a
have
drink?
your. I have my drink. I'm ready. I'm a professional.
You already had your drink?
Yeah, it's here. I'm ready.
Huh. See, I just didn't want
All I
mine
gotta
to
do-
get warm.
See, no, I'm good to go. All I got to start doing is good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that allows you to start when you want, pause, and rewind. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing?